Continuing our 2017 coverage of Super Street Bike racing at Santa Pod, we're at the FIA-FIM European Finals for the final round of the FIM European Cup Series.
Well, Steve, start of the season, a lot of new stuff there. You said you're going to have to do experimenting and get it back working again. It started to go the right way, but we're 2/3 through the season. It's still not really there, is it? Are you still trying things?
We are, one minute we think we're there and then it throws something new at you, and there is a lot of development work to go into a new ECU, so with the boost controller, and it was just gear shift strategies and things like that, so it's been testing, but I'm really hoping the hard work will pay off and we will come out with an advantage in the end.
There were 4 planned qualifying sessions over Friday and Saturday, but a very wet start meant it was early evening before the track was dry and the qualifying could begin. By the time the Pro Mods, Methanol Dragster and the funny cars had run, the dew had started to appear and several car classes decided not to run. Yes, those windscreens are misted up, but nothing will stop these Super Street Bike riders. And so, with the floodlights now on and the track judged safe and dry, it's time to go with Q1. That's Matthias Bolin being wheeled into the burnout box, and he's going to be alongside Steve Mead in the right lane. Sweden and the UK in the first pairing then. Looking so atmospheric out there, but it must be quite nerve-wracking heading off into the semi-darkness on these 200-mile-per-hour machines. Steve rather sensibly opting to put his headlight on for this one. But no problems at all for the first pair, 7:43 for Matthias and a 7:91 for Steve. Next pair, Robert Nilsson in the left lane and Mark Hope in the right lane. And Mark is away quickly, but slowing almost immediately. Robert Nilsson pulling away to record a 7:65 at 184 miles per hour, but at least Mark has a time on the board. And don't forget that with only 16 slots in eliminations, several riders will not make it through. That's Clemens Valiet in the right lane up against Dave Thomas in the left lane. Now I imagine most riders have put relatively gentle tunes into the bikes for the first session, but no problems here for either rider. 7:90 for Clemens and an 8:52 for Dave. That's Steve Venables in the left lane up against Rudy Zorzi from Italy. And Steve is on a flyer on this one. Up to the stripe. A 7:32 at 198 miles per hour in the dark and a 9:13 for Rudy. Graham Balchin in the left lane, Gary Bow there in the right lane. And straight as an arrow for Gary, 7:39, but look at Graham's time, 7:27 gives him number 1 spot at the moment. Mogenslund in the right lane, Daniel Donalents in the left lane, 2 of Europe's finest here. So what can they do? Well, I can tell you something, they are looking very good. Up to the stripe they go. Oh wow, a 7:18 at 201 miles per hour for Mogens in the dark. Final pair, Rick Stubbins in the right lane. Malta's Franklin Borg is in the left lane. And Rick is soon off the pace, but a great run from Franklin. 7:07 at 199 miles per hour to take over the top spot at the end of Q1. Bike tuner and owner Simon delighted with that one.
We went 199 miles per hour. Track was good. We believe the track is good, and we went to 707. So it was fantastic.
And it's not the first time racing in the dark, is it?
No, for me it's not the first time. We have a full event, Malta, summer event. So for me it was not the first time. It was nice.
Simon, pleased with the way the bike's going?
Yes, very pleased. It's a brand new engine. We just needed to dial it in on Wednesday and Thursday. We went out and ran a 711 straight away with low boost. We didn't push the bike a lot yesterday because it was cold. Over here in the pits there was a lot of dew, but we went out. We trusted the guys out there. We knew they wouldn't put us out if the track is not safe. So we trusted Ian and Dave and everyone involved. But we didn't turn it up as much as we would like to. So hopefully, if everything goes good, we would love to run a European record.
I must admit, we thought the dew point might have hit and the track might have been a bit iffy, but as it turned out, the track was really good. I didn't have any spin in my run. It hooked up nicely.
What's it like running into, okay, it's not completely dark, but it's quite dark compared to daylight. What's it like at those sort of speeds?
It does feel quicker, definitely. I mean, in the past, they didn't have any lighting in the shutdown. In the past, you go through the top end, and it was just like somebody putting a hand over your eyes. You couldn't see a thing, and then after a few seconds, you think, oh, where's the walls? And then you make out a car headlight at the bottom end. But I'm going back about 10 years ago. It was absolutely terrifying. But no, last night it felt really good. Just felt a bit quicker because of the darkness.
So on to day 2, and again the sky is not good. The riders came round for Q2 with 4 riders not having put in a run the previous evening. But again the heavens opened, and by the time the track was dry, this would end up being the final qualifying session. So first outing of the weekend for Graham Dance, and he's on a solo. Well, he's looking nice and straight. Not maybe setting the earth alight, but enough to get qualified well into the field with a 762 at 194 miles per hour. Gemma Venables up next in the left lane for her first run of the weekend, and Eric Gruber in the right lane. Looking good for Gemma. And a 766 puts her in the field. Eric slowing to a 968. He won't be happy with that. Dave Thomas, right lane. Mark Hope in the left lane. Mark is outside the top 16 at the moment, so needs a better run this time. Looks like soft tunes in both bikes here, but that 8-0 should be enough for Mark at the moment. Robert Nilsson, right lane. Rudy Zorzi in the left lane. Rudy ran a 9.1 last night, so he really needs to improve if he's to secure a place in the eliminations. Robert on another good run, but Rudy off the power early. That's a 7:43 for Robert. Daniel Donalets, right lane, up against Steve Mead. Hungary and the UK match up on this one. And both riders away cleanly. Oh, but a big wheelie from Daniel at half-track loses him time, but a great 7.6 for Steve sees him well in the field for eliminations. Clemens Valiet in the left lane, Matthias Bolin in the right lane. Oh, and a spin off the start line for Matthias and a wheelie for Clemens. So no sevens this time round. 8.66 for Clemens and an 8.81 for Matthias. Let's see those launches again. Steve Venables in the right lane, taking on Rick Stubbins on the ProTech racing bike. Tyre spin for Rick, and Steve's bike not really pulling away from the start line. A disappointing for him 7.76. Gary Bow left lane, Graham Balchin in the right lane. Both of them away strongly. But smoke from Gary's bike at 1,000 foot, that is not good. A great 7.21 for Graham, but that looks like problems for Gary. So Franklin Borg looks on as the track is cleared and bits of engine picked up from the finish line. Franklin's after that European record here. He's up against Mogens Lund in the left lane. Bike placement so important on the start line. Simon willing him on there, and it is looking good. Mogens is off the power and can only watch from behind, but look at that! 6.91 at 204 miles per hour, and applause from Mogens in the other lane. That's the quickest ever run in Europe, and to say Simon and the team are delighted is an understatement. That run meant a lot. And then it rained.
You said you were going to do it, and that was quite a celebration.
Yes, it was. We knew it wasn't the bike. It's a long time coming. We knew it wasn't the bike. We came here with our foot down. We know that the championship was a little bit difficult, but we're still in championship. We knew it wasn't the bike. The question was when it will come to us. We were not on our best setup. We were not on our full setup, but we knew it could be done. A 6.91, a European record. That's what we wanted, that's what we had. The cherry on the cake would be winning the championship tomorrow.
It must make it easier going into races knowing that you've got a really good bike.
Yes, I have a very good bike, very good team. I'm very happy with the team and my tuner and the owner of the bike. It's amazing.
But not such a good weekend for Gary Bow.
We put a good time in last night, like a base time, and today we thought, well, we're not really in line for the full championship, so we had it quite well turned up. We were going for a good time, and it left the line. It didn't really feel right from the line. It didn't seem like it drove as hard as it normally would, and by fourth gear it went sick. And it was only when I pulled up at the top end and they asked me if I was okay, and I looked down and saw the oil on the floor, and it's snapped a conrod off, and it's pushed a hole right through the front of the engine, and it come right out of the back as well. So realistically there's not much left of it. It's destroyed, and I haven't got a spare.
So Franklin sits at the top after the final qualifying session, with Mogens Lund second and Graham Balchin in third spot.
We had some problems on the last pass here where, I don't know if I was lined wrong or if it spun a little, but we should have gotten down and we didn't. But there was more of us who had problems in the left lane, so we are hoping for another run.
How's the year been then for you?
Oh, the year has been great. I finished champion in the Nordic Championship. I've done 8 passes. We're doing 7 zeros. In Hockenheim, I went to semi-finals doing 7.008, so about this close to the 6. You can almost stick your tongue out for it, but let's hope it'll come, but it'll come by itself.
So some very interesting matchups to look forward to as we move into Sunday morning and round 1 of eliminations. We're starting off with Daniel Donat-Lentz in the right lane, who'll be taking on Steve Mead. And with only 2 qualifying sessions completed, the riders really haven't had time to develop their setups. Steve away nicely. Oh, and a huge wheelie from Daniel. His front wheel rim shattering. So Steve progresses into the quarterfinals with a 7:52. Daniel did so well to hold on to that one. Beautifully controlled there. Wow. Robert Nilsson right lane, Graham Dance in the left lane. Both riders lifting the front wheel. It's close, but I think Robert's going to take it. Ah, yes, at the stripe. It's Robert with a 7:25 to a losing 7:38. Matthias Spolin in the right lane, Rick Stubbins in the left lane. I think Rick's got this one and pulling out a good lead at the stripe. A 7:21 to a losing 7:7. Next pair, Gemma Venables is taking on Eric Gruber from Austria on the Kawasaki. Oh, and no! A red light for Gemma gives Eric the automatic win. And she could easily have taken the win with that 7:48. Well, Gemma's father Steve up next in the right lane against Clemens from Germany. And a wheelie off the line for Clemens, and Steve's moving on to the right. Off-pace runs for both riders here. But Steve takes it with an 8:05 to a losing 8:38. Mark Hope in the left lane, Graham Balchin in the right lane. Which of these 2 British riders will make it through to the quarterfinals? This is close, but at 1,000 feet, Graham pulls away, winning with a 7:25 to a losing 7:72. Mogenslund in the right lane, Dave Thomas in the left lane. Mogens has this right from the start. And what's this? Oh, Dave's crossed the centre line, but a great 7:13 for Mogens for the win. Final rider, and it's Franklin Borg on a solo. No sign of opponent Rudy Zorzi. So can Franklin back up that record time from yesterday? It's looking good. Oh, but a huge wheelie. Well, he'll take the win, but no record this time round.
Only 2 qualifications. I don't have a much data on the engine because I have to change the engine when I was in tee-up. So this is a new engine with new camshafts, and I'm satisfied with a 7:25. Now I could see in my tune-up it's been better. So I hope I do a good time against Mogens.
Obviously I'm happy about getting through. It's a difficult event with all the rain and stuff, all the stoppage is difficult for the fans and the track crew obviously, but yeah, just glad to get through a round anyway. So maybe not so glad the way I got through, like with the guy braking. Nobody wants to see that. You know, you prefer to have a proper race, but you know, I'm through and that's it. So getting quicker each time anyway. So you know, getting comfortable on the bike and reaction times are good and all that sort of stuff. So yeah.
So on to the quarterfinals. Steve will be in the right lane against Franklin Borg. Oh, and another wheelie from Franklin. Steve Mead's moving around on the track but holding on for the win. A 7:57 to a losing 7:93. So Steve secures a semi-final place, but Franklin fails to back up yesterday's run to make the record official. Steve Venables in the right lane and Eric Gruber in the left lane. Oh, and Venz jumps the lights. He's out, so Eric will take the automatic win with a time of 7:88. Robert Nilsson left lane, Mogens Lund in the right lane. And Mogans is away first, but Robert is hanging in there. This one is close. Mogans takes it at the stripe with a 7.15 at 201 to a losing 7.18, just 300ths in it. Final pair, and it's Rick Stubbins in the left lane taking on Graham Balchin. Off together, there is nothing in this one. And up they go, and Rick takes it by a whisker at the stripe, a 7.26 to a losing but quicker 7.20. That was won on start line reactions. What a race. So after several rain delays, it's time for these semi-finals. First out will be Rick Stubbins and Mogans Lund. Mogans in the left lane. Rick Stubbins in the right, and there is nothing between these two. This one is so close, but Rick starts to pull away at 1,000 feet and gets that final slot. A 7.17, the winning time. So who will he face? Eric Gruber or Steve Mead? Eric on the Kawasaki, Steve on the Lucas Oil-backed Suzuki. Away together, but Steve's pulling out a small lead, and he goes on and takes the win for a place in the final. A 7.53 to a losing 7.76.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah. I mean, some of it's luck, but sometimes that's what you need, isn't it? But yeah, it's been very good. Yeah.
And it must be good as well getting towards the end of the season, ending on a note like this, thinking I can get to a final in this level. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it stops me from putting a for sale sign on the bike now. So, yeah, I'll be out again next year and have another go.
And for Rick Stubbins, it has been a really good year in European Cup competition.
Yeah, well, I've actually won the championship and at the second round of the eliminations, so I'm really happy about that now.
It's obviously got one more round to go for the British Championship. How has the season gone for you so far in terms of the bike then, from what you expected at the start of the year?
No, the bike's been going really well and consistent, and yeah, it's really happy about it so far. Yeah, it's good.
But unfortunately the rain then returned, so the finals could not be completed. Even so, a great result for both riders. Steve's first ever FIM final and Rick taking the Euro Cup win. So join us next time here at Santapod for the final round in the ACU British Championship at the National Finals.